Hello and welcome to another New Catholic Generation trailer review. This time we have one of our most requested trailers we've ever had, gotten tons of comments over the past week and a half. The trailer for the new movie Silence, directed by Martin Scorsese. What do you guys know about it?
Silence in the library.
Oh gosh.
Sorry, I had to.
Silence of the Lambs? No.
Yeah, I don't think Martin Scorsese directed that one.
No, he didn't do that one.
Sound of silence.
Our Lord said to them, "Go ye into the whole world, and preach the gospel to every living creature."
Paramount.
Start with scripture. I like it.
Yeah.
Ferreira is lost to us.
Has Liam Neeson. Like it.
He renounced God in public and surrendered the faith.
That's not possible.
Has Kylo Ren.
Ferreira risked his life to spread
Spider-Man.
the faith of
And
the
Spider-Man.
Sure, that's not Darth
It
Vader.
seems to me that our mission here is more urgent than ever. We must go
New
find
Darth
Father
Vader.
Ferreira.
This is in your hearts, and both of you.
Yes.
That's a beautiful shot.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I must trust God has put it down. The moment you set foot in that country, you step into high danger.
Sounds like two cellos.
Yeah.
The price for your glory is their suffering.
It's too dangerous.
We asked for this mission. I pray, but I'm lost. Am I just praying to silence?
You see, guys, this is how you do a trailer.
I was gonna say, I really want to see this.
Yeah,
I like
Yeah.
this.
So what do you like about it, Joe?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure. It seems to me like it's a trailer of two or several missionaries that are going to a foreign land to preach the gospel. And with that, film creators can be happy and we can be happy. They are spreading the gospel, provided that, they don't mess with any message of the gospel and make it something it's not. But the actual storyline itself, there have been hundreds and thousands of missionaries that we've never heard of before. So filmmakers can be like, let's go wild with how we want to portray like the events and stuff that happen, because we don't know any events that happen. Therefore, there's no significance in there to ruin or anything like that. And I don't know. And I mean, it looked cool.
Yeah.
It's got Qui-Gon Jinn.
I know. You got Qui-Gon Jinn, Kylo Ren, and Spider-Man teaming up together to spread the gospel. I mean, it's like they all converted to Catholicism and they're still gonna spread the gospel. I'm game for this.
Oh, wow.
So what did you like about it, Ned?
All right, so as a film person, I really love the cinematography. It has some really, really neat shots. I'm a really big music person. I actually compose my own music and stuff. And oh my gosh, the music in this trailer, it got me. I was just like, you keep playing those cellos, guys. You keep playing them. Or whatever string instruments they were. But yeah, no, I really... I loved how the trailer was built, and it actually drew me in. I mean, I think this is like the very first trailer that all of us were actually silent through, because it gave us reason to watch it. It drew us in. There was nothing to make fun of. It was, I mean...
Well, it's a very serious subject matter.
Very
Very somber subject matter.
It is. But on top of that, like we've seen some trailers that have quote unquote serious subject matter, and we still watched it and we still kind of made fun of it. Not necessarily made fun of it, but cracked a joke here and there. This one really drew you in. You are really interested in seeing what happens to all these people and whatnot. And I'm really excited to see how this turns out, especially as a film person, because I really like Martin Scorsese as a director, and he was like one. I don't think he's necessarily a revolutionary director, but he was. But he is one of the really big directors who has made exceptional and amazing films. And I think this one will go down in, well, at least I hope so, go down in history as one of his good ones.
What did you think of the trailer?
Well, you can really feel the risk in this movie of what they're going into. And the fact that there is so much of that at play just shows how much they believe in what they're doing, and that is the truth, and how they are not just giving their lives in one moment, but they're continually suffering and pushing for this, because it is it's life, it's truth. It's worth so much more in the end for those people to get the Eucharist, which I loved how Eucharistic it was. Like, I haven't seen a very Eucharistic Christian movie.
There were a lot of shots of the Eucharist in this.
Have you seen a very Eucharistic Christian movie lately, even like Catholic?
No.
I haven't, and that was really surprising. And you had these. They almost looked like the original disciples, like they looked rough, they looked kind of gruff, they were real like tough guys. They were out there really pushing for the spread of the gospel, and I really enjoyed it. So
yeah, I think it's one of the it's based off a novel that I actually have a copy of here, Silence. I don't think any of us have ever read it. I just got this book yesterday, so I just started reading it. I'm going to be reading it before I watch the film because I'm really interested in the story. And actually, there's a very cool prologue or foreword written by Martin Scorsese that's actually in this edition of the book.
Cool.
So he talks about how he calls this story a work of art that has touched him like very few other works have. And ever since he read it about 20 years ago, it's sort of been a passion project for him to bring this to the big screen. And so he talks about how what he views is that the story and the struggle that's present in the story that really connects with him. And he's talking about he did grow up Catholic. He is a lapsed Catholic, but he also says he's still a Catholic. You can't get that out of him. And there's a lot of spirituality that comes through in a lot of his films. One thing he says in the foreword that I just wanted to read is that he says, Christianity is based on faith, but if you study its history, you see that it's had to adapt itself over and over again, always with great difficulty, in order that faith might flourish. That's a paradox, and it can be an extremely painful one. On the face of it, believing and questioning are antithetical, yet I believe they go hand in hand. One nourishes the other. Questioning may lead to great loneliness, but if it coexists with faith, true faith, abiding faith, it can end in the most joyful sense of communion. It's this painful, paradoxical passage from certainty to doubt to loneliness to communion that Endo, the author of the novel, understands so well and renders so clearly, carefully, and beautifully in Silence. One of the main conflicts of the story is that you have the main character, the missionary played by Andrew Garfield. He goes to Imperial Japan in an age where a new government has just taken over and is completely cracking down on Christianity. It's illegal, punishable by torture and death. And he views himself as sort of like he's going in almost as this Christ figure. But over time, he realizes that he's not going to be playing the role of Christ. And he even feels disconnected from God. He feels like he's hearing silence from God. He mentions that at the end of the trailer. And he's trying to understand God in the midst of all this suffering around him, all this horrendous, seemingly abandonment of God, of faith, of a voice in prayer in this such a brutal era. And it's one of those things where not to like, you know, make God's Not Dead 2 our perpetual living boy, but it's like, this is like real like persecution.
I know what you mean.
This is real.
This is real persecution,
Yeah.
but also it's very realistic. What I was thinking about to go on that is, you know, see in God's Not Dead 2, it makes the main character out to be this, you know, beautiful, perfect person who, you know, just can't do anything wrong. But with what you're saying that this trailer is about, it's this person who goes in thinking like, oh, I'm going to be really good. And they are good, but they have some growth to go through themselves.
Yes, he goes through thinking he's going to be just this glorious savior like Jesus, but encounters that's not.
And even though this is taking place back years ago, it's still extremely relevant to us today because that speaks to spiritual darkness in a way of not being the silence of not being able to hear God or feel God in any sort of way, and that's very relevant to a lot of people today. And just making sure you don't get spiritually prideful and being able to, you know, because that's how Satan fell. And we want to make sure we don't fall that way too. You know, it's something we have to be very careful of. You know, we grow in our faith, and that's a beautiful thing. But it's something we always have to be on guard for. Pride, particularly, but then spiritual pride. If you know, you start like you can be like getting inside, like, oh, I'm doing these things, I'm growing closer to God. That's something like no matter how close to God you grow, there's always something you have to. Yeah, there's a way for you to grow closer to Him because we're human beings, we're not perfect, but that also means there's forever going to be temptations that we have to fight against and struggle against. So, I mean, if that's what this is speaking to, I'm genuinely excited for this.
Oh my goodness. A Christian movie that Joe is excited for!
My position has been to be honest about reviewing all these things, so I'm being honest, okay?
So I don't know the full plot. I haven't read the full book yet, but that was sort of what I had known. But what's interesting to me is I guess the movie that this most reminds me of, again, it's not quite the same situation at all, but it really reminds me of it's The Mission with Robert De Niro.
Okay.
And also actually Liam Neeson. Oh, he's in there. But have any of you guys seen The Mission?
I have not seen The Mission.
I've heard about it. I kind of heard about the
I know it's on Netflix. Maybe I should look it up sometime.
Yeah, actually, that might be a movie for us to review because I thought it was really powerful when I watched it. It's about some Jesuit missionaries who go in to an indigenous population in South America.
Oh, them.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of them is Saint Renee, so that's why I remember. That.
Saint Renee Descartes?
But like,
I don't.
No, not Descartes.
I don't think she's in that one.
No, Renee Descartes is not a saint. He's like a
not Descartes.
mathematician.
Not Descartes.
He was wrong.
Oh.
No, the other Renee. Sorry, not Descartes.
Oh, the philosopher.
No, not. Yeah, that's not what I meant.
Therefore, I am.
I was thinking something else, and Descartes came out of my mouth. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm so sorry. He's not a saint.
Actually, yeah, the main character is actually Jeremy Irons in The Mission.
Woo!
Yeah.
I like.
So again, it's a bunch of very famous Hollywood stars in that one as well.
Talking about how the martyrdom of the saints goes throughout the ages, and the blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church. It's just like, and I'm really looking. I want to see this. I want to see this.
I'm just saying, this is a bit of a historic moment, like when Renee freaked out about the resurrection of Gavin Stone and said that she. Don't mention that movie.
Silence.
Silence. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, Joe freaked out. He didn't really freak out, but in a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah, like I want to freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. I mean, I've seen like movies of Saint Damien of Molokai. I don't know if you guys seen that movie, but now in a way he's a martyr because he's going in there. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna die from leprosy because one way or another I'm gonna contract it, but I'm gonna go in and I'm going to help these people. And you know, it's in a way a story of martyrdom. It's a story of love, and that's if that's what this is. If the trailer is giving me the right idea of what this is going to be, I want to see this.
One of the reasons why I'm really genuinely interested in seeing this movie is because, I mean, we've all seen them. There are a lot of Christian movies which just have a lot of really bad quality to them. Either the acting's bad, the cinematography's bad, the music is just or it's just overall just bad
yeah.
thing here and there. With this movie, it is a genuinely good quality movie with a good quality director and everything. I mean, like the last movie that I can possibly think of that had a great quality director with a lot of like great actors and everything. I know some of you guys are going to disagree with me. It was Exodus, Gods and Kings. Yes, and that had Ridley Scott, who is an amazing director. And of course, had Christian Bale and Ben Kingsley and a few other people in the movie. And that was at least for me, that was a genuinely good movie, but obviously a poor adaptation.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I mean, I don't know about adaptation was because I haven't read the book and obviously we haven't seen the movie, but I think like this has the potential to be a really great Christian movie.
Yes.
I mean, and I don't even just mean like, oh, I think it's a great Christian movie, like its moral message and everything. I mean, it's a great piece of artwork as well.
Absolutely.
And that is something that is kind of sad that's lacking in a lot of Christian media. There's not a lot of great artwork in modern Christian filmmaking.
Yeah.
So for this, I'm just like, man, you got the cinematography nailed down. That stuff looks freaking amazing. The music so far, I mean, obviously it's trailer music, but there are a lot of times the composer for the music does compose the music for the trailers as well. And the music so far sounds amazing as well. And then you got amazing actors. I mean, you got like we said, Liam Neeson, Andrew Garfield.
We've said their names several times.
So many times.
Kylo Ren looks a little bit too skinny. But
I heard he lost a lot of weight for this film, or at least that's what people are speculating.
Okay. Yeah, he didn't look himself.
It might be for the
thinking
role.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
You're thinking Star Wars.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's like starved, and that's why he looks that way. Which
That's
in that
true.
case, I mean,
Would make sense.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Hemsworth starved himself not starved himself, but lost a lot of weight for the movie and The Heart of the Sea, which makes sense for that movie and everything. So for this, it would make also sense. But sorry.
One thing I wanted to go back to where you said like the last film or the big Christian film that had like a really famous director and a lot of A-list actors just all over the place, Exodus, Gods and Kings. Because I was also thinking that too, like the two examples I can think of are Noah and Exodus, Gods and Kings. But it's always like you look at the director and it's like, what is their vision? What is their role? What is their passion to create the story? Because that's usually where like the message is coming from, like the director's vision. In the case of Noah, you had Darren Aronofsky, who grew up Jewish, and the story of Noah meant a lot to him because it won him like some prize when he wrote a poem about it when he was younger. But he was pulling a lot of the symbolism from his Jewish heritage. And so he pulled it like in a midrash style and he took from the extra stuff. So that's where a lot of the extra things come from that is not biblical.
Right.
Where a lot of people are like, well, this is not biblical. But if you understand the director's perspective, then it makes more sense.
Yeah.
With Exodus, Gods and Kings, unfortunately, as I agree with you, it was a very epic movie, a very grand movie in scale.
Yes.
But when I listen to like Ridley Scott interviews, I mean, Ridley Scott is an atheist, and he did talk about where he's like, I always thought the story of Moses was just really epic, and it hasn't been made in a modern way with modern technology. I just want to make a modern epic Moses. And if you look at a lot of like the theology in it, the theology is missing. And Bishop Barron mentions this in his review on Word on Fire. It's just like, it's not there. It's a great spectacle. It's got like great, but it's not there.
There isn't really a moral. There isn't theology. There isn't a moral.
Right.
It's just an epic, which is not bad. It's just it's missing the fruit.
Yeah, and so with Martin Scorsese, even though he is a lapsed Catholic, and even though he has directed the very controversial film, The Last Temptation of Christ.
Yeah.
Renee's gonna leave.
Will you sit down?
No, like the foreword for this book gave me a lot of hope that he really has something to say that's deeply personal and spiritual about
Absolutely. One thing I can probably say about this, sorry for interrupting.
Oh, yeah.
is I have met a lot of lapsed Catholics, and a lot of them have told me that their reasoning and logic for like quote unquote leaving the Catholic Church is a little bit weird, like to me, but like they say, no, we are still Catholic. We just don't go to church anymore or something like that. And we still believe in all of these things that are Catholic. We still believe in communion. We still believe in the presence of Christ. We still believe in the saints. And I'm just like, okay, then why do you not go to church anymore? But which is my reasoning. But the funny thing is, a lot of these lapsed Catholics, they still hold on to that. So, and from what I'm hearing from like this forward with Martin Scorsese, it seems very similar in that manner.
One of the things that's encouraging to me, at least about the film, is that it's been such a passion project of Scorsese. He's been working for like decades to get it financed and actually made, and he's had to change his cast several times because they had to redo it and find a way to schedule. And a lot of the actors on the film are like a lot of people working on the film are not taking as big of a salary as they usually would. This movie's being produced on like a $50 million budget, where normally it might be a bit more, but they're taking that lower pay because they really want to do it.
Yeah, and that in itself is really encouraging because it shows that this is a passionate project and not a
money maker,
a profitable project.
It's not made for a buck.
That whole scenario reminds me of Mark Twain writing about Joan of Arc and how he took 10-12 years to write his Joan of Arc book. That is his favorite work of all time. He's very passionate about it, and it's really, really good and really accurate. So that gives me a lot of hope for this movie.
Absolutely. No, I'm like just from hearing more and more about like Martin Scorsese and how he's like this has been his like passion project for so many years and everything, and just so many other things, and just watching the trailer, we've all keep saying it through this review of the trailer, we are very excited for it. So yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for watching, and we hope we'll see you back here on our channel when we finally do get to review the film when it comes out shortly. Thank you for watching. God bless, guys.
Bye.